as for the Leafs, they were off today, but they were scrimmaging over the weekend, practicing over the weekend. And the big story that came out of the weekend was Sheldon Keefe's decision to place John Tavares, Mitch Marner, and Auston Matthews on a line together at some point, and then he was willing to talk about it after the game. And this is probably the biggest difference between Sheldon Keefe and Mike Babcock. Right, Babcock would have scoffed at it.
Yeah,
Babcock would never even do it.
Never.
No, never. He'd put Hyman, Gauthier, and Clifford, ahead of that line.
That's his All-Star game lineup.
That's his line. That's the line he wants to see. But he would have shot it down, and then he would have laughed and said, "How dare you ask me? It's stupid. We're just messing around. Get out of here." And Sheldon Keefe was open and honest and said, "It's something I want to take a look at, and I probably will again in the future." I kind of want to see Nylander mix into that as well. Yeah, because I think. Well, I would take Tavares out.
Okay.
Yeah, I would go Nylander, Matthews, Marner. I think you can use any possible combination of those four guys, and you're going to get just an uber, offensive option. But the idea of the next shift is what always scares coaches.
Right.
Right, and that's where Tavares, I would rely on him more. The importance of the center ice position. And the drop-off once you get past him and Matthews.
Right.
Where
it's Alex Kerfoot.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's Kerfoot. And what I'd like to see is if Keefe has the stones, because he wouldn't be the first coach to do something like this. They do it in Boston already every single night.
Three best players
on the same line, and they run that out. They do that in Colorado. Their three best players. Coaches have done this when they're down 2 goals late in the third, load up on a line. Are you willing to do this when you're up 2 goals in the third period to try to really close it?
Right.
I don't know if he's got the stones to pull that off.
Well, but that's been the organizational philosophy, right? We've heard them say this numerous times, Hayes, this season. After Babcock was fired and Sheldon Keefe took over and Kyle Dubas's influence was a lot more prevalent on the way they're trying to play the game. And that one of the things they kept saying was, we don't want to change the way we play just because we're up 2 or down 2. We want to play the same way. We want to attack, be relentless. We want to use our speed, and we don't want to go into a shell because we saw them blow some leads at times, like every team does. But they do when they're up, they do tend to look like they're a different team than when they're down. And then when they're down, they're furious and they're charged. And when they're up, they can get a little complacent. So I'm with you. Like if they're true to that kind of philosophy, that they want to keep hammering and keep attacking even if they've got a lead, you stick with these guys.
Yeah. Exactly, you're right. That mentality is something they've preached, but can they actually follow through on it?
It's against the coach's nature. Right?
It is, understandably so, because it throws off the rhythm of your lines as well. Because if you're loading up 3 guys that are on 2 separate lines or 3 separate lines, and then you got to try to get them back into the rotation on the opposite side, I understand why it maybe complicates something that doesn't need to be complicated, but. Kyle Dubas has been very clear about this. That's where they're invested. That's the team they have. They're loaded in talent, and they need to expose that talent. And Sheldon Keefe had marching orders to do it because Babcock wasn't.